Hello and welcome to everyone. Today my guest is MMA fighter from Croatia. It's Goran Reljic. Thank you so much for accepting this interview. Can you please say when did you start training mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I started back in '03 or '04. I'm not sure. It was back here in Croatia, and just a few of us who were total beginners at the time, and just basically learning stuff from VHS videotapes, and just a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of love behind the whole thing.
How hard it was to kick off so early on, knowing there was no big names in Croatian MMA scene back then?
How hard was it to train back then?
Yes.
I mean, we were not very well accepted from all the people. We were also considered a little bit crazy back in the day because everybody who did something like MMA was considered a weirdo. So it was definitely interesting. But I don't know. I just since that first time saw Pride and we had of course Crow Cup here in Croatia. He was fighting Pride at the time and he made it popular. So I mean, definitely, it was something that I was willing to try and invest my time in it, and been doing it since then.
How would you describe your fighting style?
Weird, awkward. Uh, I don't know. I guess I started with BJJ. Then later I made a transition into striking, and I found kind of a mixture between the whole thing. And lately I changed my style a lot because I've improved my movement a lot and my striking as well. So I would say I'm a well-rounded fighter, but I would say that I mix it up kind of differently.
Awesome. Can you please elaborate the origin of your nickname?
No, if I tell you, I'm just gonna have to kill you. I'm sorry about that.
Alright, no problem. Who's coaching you now?
So my coach now is former Olympic boxing coach of the Croatian national team, Ivica Zubcic. He's a very, very knowledgeable boxing coach. So he's actually the one that explained me what boxing is all about, and he's the one who implemented my whole movement training. And yeah, I, I I can say that he's the one guy that I've learned the most of my game from.
Can you please look back at your first professional fight? How did you feel heading into your first professional fight?
So first pro MMA fight debut was April 4, 2004, and it was in Zagreb in Croatia. I fought a Montenegro guy at a heavyweight division, and I actually remember walking into that fight feeling kind of sleepy, like almost like what the hell am I doing? And then as I entered, I got hit by I believe it was a right hook into the temple, and that woke me up right away. It shook me up, and I immediately pulled myself together and just took the guy down, and I finished the fight with the armbar.
How did you force Andre Brager to surrender?
Sorry.
How did you force Andre Brager to surrender your second fight?
Oh, so Breger was a striker, and I believe I caught him with an arm triangle choke from the side control or from mount. I'm not sure.
Your fourth fight, you squared off against Goran Mihailovic, who later fought in the UFC, and you're one of rare guys who caught him via Kimura. I don't remember seeing him being submitted. So how did you execute this submission?
I was from the half guard. He was doing a ground and pound series, and at one point I was very close to being knocked out, but was able to pull myself together and just caught him off balance. That's it. Like it was a half guard Kimura.
How did you armbar Tomek Shmikovsky?
That was a mounted armbar, I believe. Yeah,
Mounted? How did you
yeah,
execute it from the mount?
very simple.
Just a great transition. Alright, can we please look back at your UFC debut against Wilson Gouveia?
Yeah, so that was a short notice fight, and I basically had no option of choosing any opponent, so I got the contract only if I was willing to fight specifically him. because back in the day nobody didn't want to fight him, and I took the fight kind of on short notice as well. And I had like a month and a half time to prepare, and I flew to Las Vegas, trained there, and went inside and beat him via knockout and won fight of the night.
People are saying that Krzysztof Shushinsky is a real beast. I've heard many rumors about Krzysztof Shushinsky. So, what do you say? You shared the cage with Krzysztof Shushinsky, and I watched that fight, it was very close. I even thought you won that fight. I watched that fight, I even thought you won that fight. So, what can you say about that fight?
Number one, I was not completely healthy walking into that fight. I had a pneumonia, I believe, 3 weeks prior to that fight. And the guy that was managing me back in the day, he told me that I cannot pull off of that fight because he basically was lying that that I was going to get cut off, that I was going to be released from the UFC if we call him that I'm sick. And you know, fighting with pneumonia and using antibiotics and everything, my whole cardio went down, and I wasn't the same anymore when I walked into that fight.
Who was your
So
top?
I would say,
Sorry.
I would say he's definitely strong. He's definitely a strong guy, but I believe that he can be beaten, and I don't think I won the fight. I lost. I think I lost the fight, but definitely my cardio, I mean, it wasn't what it was supposed to be, right?
Who is the toughest UFC opponent you've ever met? I mean, during your UFC run.
My UFC run, I would say CB Dalloway.
CB Dalloway. Well, when I watched him against Yuri Prochazka, he looked pretty much terrible, but back then he was a beast.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to say I don't like to compare things, but like, you know, you can never judge fighters to how they did their last fight or how they did the fight 10 years ago because, you know, a guy's motivation can be different from each fight to fight, right?
What can you say about your KSW belt fight against Yan Blakovich?
That was a tough one. He's very physically strong. He's also very technical. He's a great boxer, good jiu-jitsu. I mean, he's definitely one of the physically strongest people I've ever seen in my life. That was a tough fight.
What are your thoughts on KSW as a promotion? Some people compare KSW and Cage Warriors. Some say KSW is stronger, some say Cage Warriors is stronger. Which one is true?
No, KSW is way stronger than Cage Warriors, but it's definitely not number one promotion in Europe.
Alright. What can you say about your fights against, correct me if I'm wrong, Tomasz Narkun?
We fought twice. I beat him the first time. I got dropped in the second. I wish I could fight him again, and I'm definitely 100% positive that I will beat him.
Awesome. I assume one of the greatest successes of your career happened in the fight against Slovak fighter Attila V. You won KSW belt. So how did that fight go? I mean, Attila V, I watched him a few times. He is very, very powerful guy. That's just my thoughts.
He is, yeah. He's definitely powerful, but honestly, I didn't like the fight. The fight was boring, and I didn't have such a good coaching as I have today. And I mean, winning by decision, that's not what I deal with anymore. I want to win fight by KO, so I just think it was a boring, shitty fight, honestly.
What can you say about Vadim Nemkov as a fighter? Vadim Nemkov is one of great names.
Yeah, that's one of the names that I also want to fight again, and I definitely wasn't prepared for that fight, and he was definitely at the higher level at this point, but he's definitely one of the people that I wish I could fight against.
What could you say about superior FC belt fight against Matthias Cavalli?
That's one of the worst performances I ever had in my entire life, and reason being that I was not mentally all there back in the day, and I had faced huge problems at that time, and I was never supposed to take that fight, but in the end I did, and I believe that was the worst performance I ever had.
How did you turn the lights out on Pedro Broom?
I honestly don't. You mean which punch was it? I honestly don't remember. I don't remember. I believe it was a left straight.
So you started banging each other and you just hit right on the button, right?
I mean, from your point of view, yeah, but there's way more. There's way more technique behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't say your technique is bad. Don't get me wrong. I think your technique is great. But when fighters start trading haymakers, when I do, for example, when I do live commentary of some events, I just start yelling they're trading haymakers or so because there are 10 punches. I can't say every single punch. I haven't seen which one was also, but it was a great knockout to me.
It was a left straight in the end, yeah, but it was barrage of punches before that actually that made it difficult for him. He was really tough, but my motivation was really high at that point.
Well, the last fight against Your Ksw was awesome and split decision win. And what can you say about that? I mean, people were talking some various stuff about that fight. Don't wanna quote who said what. I mean, fight was great. I'm only interested about fights, not trash talk and such things. So, what do you think of that fight?
I mean, definitely. I was ready walking into that fight, but I actually managed to break my left hand punching his face, I believe, in the end of the second round. So going into the third, I was not able to deliver all the combos that we've been working on and everything else. And I was also hesitant with kicking because I knew that they were ready for that. So I had to be careful. And in the end, I applied pressure with my footwork and my distance, and was able to hit him many times. But he was just one of the guys that really did not want to go down. And I believe it was 1 minute and a half prior to the end of the third round when the ref walked in and basically saved him because he was at the edge of a knockout, and then they wanted to check my cut, which was underneath my eye, not above the eye. And there was a whole misunderstanding about that cut. But basically, overall, I'm not happy with the performance.
So, what can you say about your bare knuckle fighting career? And another question: did you recover your left hand?
Yeah, it's pretty much recovered. Yeah, bare knuckle is definitely it's a different form of fighting than mixed martial arts, but in certain aspects, I even enjoy bare knuckle more than I do MMA. But MMA was the first sport I started with, and it's something that I always prefer more than bare knuckle in the end. But it's different. Bare knuckle is like you have to be really smart with the way you throw your punches and with the way you move, because any single one of these punches can land, and they can change the whole outcome of the fight.
Who is the toughest bare knuckle opponent you've ever met? Do you have that?
Not really, no. No. None of them was like super tough. No, not really.
When I was doing interviews with, I was also interviewing bare knuckle fighters, and they said something that's kind of, somebody says yes, somebody says no. How hard is to adjust when you transition from MMA to bare knuckle and vice versa because of no gloves?
For me, it was a piece of cake. I don't know how it was for them, but for me, it was super simple. Even better. Some things it was even better.
Outstanding. What are your plans for the future? Do you have some plans?
Well, I plan to fight for the next at least 5 years, at least, and then we'll see from there. Yeah, I'm honestly at this point I'm not really sure. Just focused on my career 100%, and that's it.
Thank you so much for this lovely interview. Would you like to add something to this interview? Maybe we missed. Maybe would you like to greet someone?
Yeah, just want to say hello to all my fans and all the people out there supporting me, and I want to thank to all of my coaches and all my teammates, all my sparring partners, and all the people out there helping me out.
All right, thank you so much for this. I will now start creating video. Maybe 3-4 hours I will release it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for this. Have a great day.